Greetings, YouTube. How is everyone doing today? My name is Ama-Live and I am doing another live streaming for my audience. So please like, share, subscribe. I am not going to start right away because I do want to give a chance to everybody to log in to their accounts. The rest of the zodiac signs, I believe that I have 4 more to do for this YouTube channel, will be uploaded in the next few days. I was trying to do everything at the same time, but it felt like I was pushing the energy. Every time that I tried to do these readings for the YouTube channel, I just couldn't do them for some reason. For those of you who usually purchase my Vimeo videos, please understand that the Vimeo videos are released as always for all of the 12 signs of the zodiac. And the link for the Vimeo videos is down here below in the show more description box. And I will also try to post it again in the comment section below. For those of you who are interested to participate in my membership program, please do understand that the membership program has different levels. The first level will provide you with an additional reading for each sign of the zodiac. You pay one price for everything and you have access to all of the 12 signs. It is an Akashic reading, an extended Akashic reading, twice as long as the Vimeo videos. The second level, in addition to that, will also give you a mid-month update for each sign of the zodiac. And the third level, the third tier of the membership program, will give you, in addition to the first and the second level, will also give you an energy clearing every month and an Akashic healing every month. And if you'd like to join the membership program, please either click on the join button right here next to the subscribe, or if you scroll down, you're going to find a link to join. With that being said, as I said, I just wanted to give a little bit more time to people to log into their accounts. I can see Helen right now. I can see Petrina. Hello, girls. And if you are live right now, do chat with me, let me know. So we have a very important month. I will be doing an Akashic reading right now live. There's a lot of planetary movements, a lot of celestial events. There's a lunar eclipse happening tonight, depending on where you are in the world. There's also a solar eclipse coming up, and immediately in July is going to be followed by a third eclipse, which is kind of unusual. These eclipses have a tendency to influence our life for the next 6 months. Besides that, we have Mercury going retrograde. As far as I know, when I did my research about astrology, Mars is also retrograde with a couple of other planets. I don't remember all of them right now. Mars will be stationing direct. So now I will tune in, okay, to listen to what the Akashic records have to tell you about this month. Remember that this is a general Akashic reading for the month of June. If you'd like to know specifically about your sign, I have posted a specific reading for each sign of the zodiac in the membership space, and the link for that is down here below. Oh, hello, Rebecca, blue eyes. I'm a little hot, that's all, but I'm okay. Okay. The Akashic records are indicating to me that for many of us at a personal level, a lot of change is happening, but is going to feel like this change is very silent. A lot of barriers will now start to crack. But understand, every barrier represents a limitation, either put by you by a circumstance, by a political system, by a monetary system. So these barriers, they're mentioning that they're talking about both barriers that you have control over it and barriers that you do not have control over it. In June, you are going to start to realize what is not working anymore for you in your personal life, what is not working anymore for you with your finances, a work circumstance, a family related circumstance, what is not working for you, and period. And they are telling me that you have to compare this energy of June 2020 with what happened 20 years ago. A lot of countries around the world 20 years ago, they had a massive transformation. They broke one system to another system. But it is also connected to the same energy, okay, that made a lot of people who lived in different countries, particularly communist countries, Eastern Europe, where people started to rebel to put an end to that very systematic controlling of that particular regime. In June 2020, yes, are going to happen similar events, but they're not going to be as intense as 20 years ago. Because this time around, what is different, your awareness at a personal level is much higher. You as an individual, you now seem to understand more so than before matters of your personal freedom, matters of respecting other people's personal freedom, but also respecting other people's personal opinion. Yes, as we are all witnessing right now, there are clashes of different groups. Sometimes they get violent, sometimes they get out of control. But whether this is happening silently or peacefully, or whether this is happening, unfortunately, through force, each and every group is able to put their point across. Unfortunately, as a human race, we don't, within different groups of our human race, we don't all carry the same awareness. What is being indicated to me by the Akashic records is that for most people, you are going to be able to get your point across without necessarily using unnecessary force. June 2020 is going to be a very important month for many, particularly for those of you who have applied and you are waiting for an approval. And they're mentioning a few things: immigration proceedings, matters of citizenship. Maybe you simply applied to get a new passport, to renew your passport. They're talking about a loan being approved, things that have to deal with a mortgage. A lot of people will be talking to banks, people who may help them to get through the mortgage or simply to get a much better mortgage deal. They are telling me that you are going to notice and witness a breakthrough with your bad habits, a breakthrough with those patterns that no longer serve you. Patterns could be your behavior, your attitude, your emotional reaction, your belief, your system of beliefs, your religious beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. But also at the same time, pay attention to your personal truth. Nobody has the right to tell you what is real about you or not. Okay? Because a lot of people seem to carry a lot of judgment. Okay? You may be carrying your own judgment about other people. That's what we do as humans. But you need to be very aware, where is it that you allow another person's opinion about you to destroy your own opinion about you. Because after all, you have to understand that your truth belongs to you. And if you firmly believe in your authenticity, if you are diligent about staying true and staying real, also for the greater good, okay, at the end of the day, this is what is going to matter. For some of my viewers, they are mentioning that you may be hearing about gossip, you may be hearing about misinformation, but it's going to be misinformation about a matter that you are dealing with in that moment, that it's important. You are going to be hearing about gossip, either about yourself or other people with whom you are involved. You know them. Try not to get involved. And above everything, please be aware of your emotional reaction. People are going to be emotionally reactive. They are going to have a tendency to exaggerate everything. I am not discarding that they have a right, okay, to react emotionally that way. But again, it may be a little bit blown out of proportion. Everybody who is in some ways seeking justice through the right means to get justice, through the courts, the legal system, okay, you are going to get that. But in June, you have to make sure that you are taking that step. If you have to fill out an application, if you have to place a request for something, if you have to find a lawyer. So as long as you are going through the proper channels for you to get the justice or for the justice to be executed, everything is going to work out fine. Now, if you are dealing with a legal matter, maybe you are not going to get everything that you are going to be hoping for, but justice will be served with the good and with the bad. But you are going to be able to get something out of it. Because for some of you, for people who may be dealing with legal matters, they are telling me that they are going to be focusing on the principle of everything. Maybe deep down, it's not about getting money through courts or legal matters or getting an inheritance. It's simply about resolving a matter because you believe in your principles. Now, principles are a funny thing, the Akashic records are saying. You also have to give yourself permission that every once in a while you are also allowed to change those principles by whom you stand, because everything in life moves, everything in life shifts, okay? And you have to adapt and you have to move with the flow. Maybe you don't have to change entirely the principles and your beliefs, but maybe a portion of it, okay, just so that you can adapt. They are talking about matters of family, having to take care of a family member who maybe they feel needy right now. They may need emotionally needy. They may be maybe they need some practical help. Maybe they want you to show up to fix or repair something, to celebrate with them, or even if you have a chance to help anyone financially. And they're not talking about breaking the bank to help somebody financially. But if it means that it will only cost you a couple of dollars that you are able to afford to help, they are asking you to help. Okay, so help within your means. Don't go out of your way, particularly when it comes to money. There's going to be a lot of trials about different issues in different countries. Many of them are going to be focusing on rights, the rights of women being battered, women being mistreated or worse, even raped and killed. There's going to be trials going on around the world about children, missing children, individuals that in some ways where the government misuse their authority with them, or matters of your ethnic background is different than mine. You are going to hear more and more about immigration matters, specific group of immigrants, and how they are being treated during these much difficult times. And I'm not just talking about one country here. You're going to see these matters playing out in many different countries. Right now, okay, they are highlighting London, they are highlighting England, Greece, Syria, Germany. They're mentioning a few of the Arab countries, but due to the media control, the larger population won't know much about it until maybe years from now. They're mentioning Israel, they're mentioning Pakistan, they're mentioning India, and these are just a few countries highlighted where they are going to witness an increase in these matters, even in the media. So it is about matters of how we, as human beings, seem to mistreat one another, being violent, okay, against a specific group of people. We, as the human race, because in the eyes of the Akashic records, we are one human race. They don't know why is it that we treat each other this way. Because when we were born, we were equipped to love one another unconditionally. But we were also equipped with free will. And some people, okay, they don't really understand the power of free will. Just as some people are hurting, maybe because of what's happening in your personal life, your personal pain, but also maybe you are struggling a little bit with what's happening at a larger scale. Okay, there's a lot of support on the other side. They are suffering with us. And I'm sorry, I didn't plan on this streaming to be so emotional. This is just to show you, okay, how emotional this month will get. And it's only the beginning, it's only the fifth, but it's going to be a good emotional release. Some of you are going to create one of your best work. They're talking about writers, they're talking about artists, they're talking about how you are going to be able to channel your best work yet. If you are putting together a lesson plan, if you are a spiritual person, maybe you have a spiritual business, you may be coming up with the best service yet, with the best reading yet. If you are a doctor, they're talking about medical discoveries, and they're not necessarily talking that they are going to be in regards to the coronavirus, but as the community, the medical community in the world, a lot of doctors right now are working behind the scenes, or even medical engineering in that department where they are working to make some sort of a breakthrough discovery, creating a new tool, creating a new piece of equipment that is going to be truly innovative. We are not going to hear about it right now in June, because before that becomes available to the public, a very long journey needs to happen, from registering that to make it available. So right now it feels like there's a little bit of a secrecy around that. For those of you who have been carrying some sort of a secret, or maybe you have your own project, maybe you are doing something behind the scenes yourself, maybe you're dealing with your own secrets right now. Again, you may need to be aware what secrets, okay, is healthy for you to release at this time, to share with a loved one, or maybe with more than just a person, because due to the level of the emotional impact, due to the level, so this energy feels very emotional. In a spur of a moment, you may be revealing a little bit more than maybe you intended to. But we are also going to notice that at a larger scale. People could be talking about scandals. People could be talking about what has happened with people who are in the public eye. Okay, they represent themselves in the public eye one way, but the truth, the reality is completely different. They're talking about this duality, not only about the duality of our feelings. Okay, we're going to be experiencing strange things with our emotions, but also it's going to be like a mirror. The Akashic records are literally placing like a mirror in front of me, and they're saying a mirror in front of humanity. Now it's time for you to figure out whether this is your first time watching yourself in the mirror. Imagine this. They're going to give you an example that makes sense to you, is easy to follow. If you never saw yourself before in the mirror and somebody suddenly places a mirror in front of you, that's your moment of truth, and you're going to decide, wow, do I like myself or I don't? Do I believe that this is actually me? Or am I, going crazy with fear and I'm going to create like a conspiracy theory? This is magic, this is voodoo, this is not a real, or I'm going to accept the reality. Am I ready to deal with my reality? Okay, and be careful here. Okay, go back to when you were a child, and maybe during the class with physics, maybe you took physics, okay, just like everybody else did, and remember those exercises with a mirror. Okay, because only one mirror is directly placed at you. The other mirrors are just reflecting the main mirror, and the image could be a little bit distorted. Okay, because they're saying there's going to be a little lie in every truth, and in every truth there's going to be a little lie. Okay, so that's a tough statement. That is a tough statement. So you cannot discredit everything 100%, and you cannot believe everything 100%. It's very important. So for those of you who are writers, maybe you always wanted to write a book. Maybe you always wanted to start that painting. Maybe you always wanted to take that course about computers and coding. Maybe you always wanted to take that business course. Whatever it is, it's now time for you in June to start doing it. Go register, put together your resources, figure out where to start, what to do. It is a blessed month to start somewhere with something new. Okay, so if you are somebody who usually maybe you put your plans aside, you procrastinate, it feels like time is up. Time is up. No more time for delays and procrastination. You have to start somewhere. They're not saying that you have to start and finish in June, but at the very least, initiate, begin with that first step. The other step will follow when is meant and when is intended to follow. For example, if you're starting a business, doesn't mean that you have to start the business. Figure out a name and go register that business. Go get a business ID. You don't have to launch the website right away, but come up with the name. And you may still be working on your website. You don't have to finalize it right away. Okay, just begin somewhere. In anything that you are doing, it may seem to be bigger than you. But if you break it down in smaller pieces, it's going to make better sense to you. And if this is something that you are trying to do, break it down into smaller steps. The world is opening up. That may also be overwhelming for some people. Going from this very sleepy energy, going to this very active energy. Take your step. Okay, you don't have to fully force on, everything's open up and you're going places. Take your time according to your own speed. It's very important that you get sleep. Now, don't make a big deal. Don't look into why suddenly I have a crash in energy, why suddenly I feel so sleepy, why are my dreams, getting very strange dreams. It's connected to the energy of the eclipses. So instead of questioning the energy, follow the energy. Okay, if you feel sleepy, go take a nap. Okay, if you feel like for a moment you just want to be by yourself, go and do that. If you feel like calling everybody because you miss everybody and organize some sort of a get togethers where is possible to have that get together, go and do that. This is a very good month to maybe surprise somebody in a good way. Maybe you can talk to other people, resources, okay, to help somebody financially and just show up to surprise them, to put together some sort of a party for someone, to show your solidarity with other people. It doesn't have to be physical, okay? Take advantage of the internet. You can always show your solidarity, okay, by signing a petition, by making a small donation to a cause that you believe. Karma is being written right now, and this is new karma. They are watching. Okay, they are watching. Are you a person who is in a position to help? And maybe you are holding this back, this help for petty reasons. Okay, everything is being recorded as we speak. Humanity is given a chance to redeem themselves. They are not going to disappear. They are going to continue to live stronger and healthier. The planet will get stronger and healthier, but also understand that the planet is going through a lot. Unfortunately, I'm not too happy to share this news with you, but they're saying that we are still going to hear about earthquakes. Because this is a general reading now, I can possibly go over a list of different countries. For some countries, these are just going to be small earthquakes. Okay, but they're talking about that. They're talking about flooding in some other parts of the planet. They're talking about constant rain and flooding. They're talking about due to something that could be weather related. Maybe some areas are going to have an issue with the electricity because they're showing me a portion of the planet going dark at night. Okay, but we also have the energy of the summer equinox. So there's just so much going on. Many of us are now being asked to retrieve our steps. What has happened? Okay, reflect on it. About a circumstance, just about the last couple of months, and don't be surprised if some issues may be forgotten, could be coming up again. People associated with that, conversations about it, and it's okay. We do need a little bit of a reflection and a little bit of like a recap. What has happened so far? Okay. They're talking about how in some schools a graduation ceremony will be able to happen, and it's not necessarily going to be on Zoom or over the internet. They're talking about how some schools, they're going to figure out some sort of a system to have maybe like a graduation keeping a safe distance from one another. It feels like many departments are going to be flooded with requests for financial help, requests to have a license, requests for a permit, requests to renew something, permit certifications. Everything is on the move. Everything is on the move. Now, the Akashic Records would like to bring forth the energy of grandmothers. It's not unusual that sometimes when with the same energy of somebody that crossed over, that corresponds to more than one person. And because this is a general reading, please understand that they are talking about in general grandmothers who have crossed over, who would like to show up to support humanity right now. If this is your grandmother showing up to support you, and the grandmothers are cradling the baby, and the baby being the planet. okay? And the grandmothers are reminding you to show a lot of tact. Pay attention to how you are using your words, because due to the tendency of overreacting, you may be saying something that may be inappropriate for the time being, for that moment. Show a lot of compassion toward one another, to other family members, and they are aware that some family members can be very difficult, or they may be struggling. Okay, some of you are trying to be brave, not only for you, but also for your children. Some of you are trying to put on a strong appearance, okay, because the responsibility falls on you, but you also have a right to have a break, a right to get angry. It's not always okay to keep everything in without ever taking that out. But if you keep everything bottled in, chances are that you're going to reach a point when you're going to explode, and that is not good either. Remember our grandmothers, the ones that are still alive. Connect with them, reconnect with them. Pay attention to senior centers. Pay attention to where is it that maybe you can contribute to volunteering or to donate to maybe an elderly person, whether it is to them personally or whether it is to centers, charities that are targeting elders and taking care of them. Everybody, as we grow older, we become wiser. Okay, now maybe you are 20 right now. Of course, you know a lot more than from when you used to be 10. Maybe you are 40 or 50. You know a lot more than you did when you used to be in your 20s. Okay, so our elders carry with them a lot of wisdom. Okay, you are going to be an elderly person yourself, and at that point, the purpose will be for you to share your knowledge and wisdom with the next generation, with your family, with the larger masses. So they would hate for this wisdom to be lost. Okay? Don't forget the elderly either. Yes, we love our children. Children are the apple of our eye. But at the same time, please don't forget the neglected ones, particularly elderly or maybe people who live alone. Okay, there's a lot of people who live alone, or maybe they had to go in quarantine alone. That is tough. It's tough. Pick up the phone. Do a nice gesture without expecting anything in return. Give a call to somebody, check up on them, particularly if you know that they live alone or that they are struggling in some ways. Do something that comes out of your heart without expecting anything in return. Because a day will come around when karma is going to reward you tenfold. They highly recommend for everybody to either start a vision board, write down your thoughts, keep a journal, keep a diary, write down every single one of your expenses. Okay, if you have a family, write down the expenses of the family. It's very important that you are on top of everything. You know where the bill is coming from, how much does it cost, where money is coming from. Doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen. It's only about developing very good habits. In June, take opportunities to start retraining your brain, start retraining yourself to incorporate very useful habits. And one of those habits that many of us need to incorporate in June is to be organized. Organize your home, organize your files, organize a photo album, be organized with your goals, because through that sense of organization, if you are organized, it's much easier to follow through with a baby step. It's much easier to feel a lot more in control. Okay, and there is no specific list for those of you who would like to create a vision board. Just focus on that. Just follow along with your mind, with your heart. There is no specific list. Everybody's vision board is going to be different. Also, you can use a notebook to be a vision board. Doesn't mean that it has to actually be a vision board. For example, I am personally right now working on an abundance program, okay, to reconnect again with the flow of abundance and prosperity. And as I am doing this program for myself, I am also working with two different clients at a personal level, privately with them. And if you are interested in it, please do contact me, okay, because it's not a service that is listed yet in my website, and it's going to be on individual basis. I am going to personalize that to you. So it's pretty much like 6 to 8 weeks or so. They're mentioning the Roman times. Now imagine, the Romans ruled the world for 500 years. Do you know how many tactics they developed to keep all of these tiny countries, to crush them, to keep all of the population under their thumb, okay, under the thumb of the oppressor? Go back and read some of that history. It's 500 years. They're talking about slavery. They're talking about slave trades. They're talking about how they try to Romanize everybody. They're talking about they had this strategy, and they're mentioning here a Latin phrase that basically says, if you want to rule, separate and rule, if this is the correct translation. I cannot reproduce it from the Latin originally. So basically they are highlighting what's different about one group versus another group, and they want the different groups to fight among them. So in this way, the Romans can rule everybody. And that's the strategy they used for 500 years. And it worked every time. And it is still working today by highlighting the differences among us, among different ethnicities, among different countries, among different group of minorities, among different classes, among different races. That's how the oppressor rules. But we don't live in the same times anymore. We live in times that we call democracy. And we don't even know what democracy is supposed to look like. Democracy is supposed to look like justice is being served for good and for bad. And you have to understand, nobody's 100% good or 100% bad. Okay, but there is more goodness in everybody than there is bad. In very few people, you would find them to be 100% evil. So don't focus too much right now on who's divine and who's evil. Focus on who's giving the most contribution to humanity, who is contributing to making us, the human beings, realize that we have a lot more in common, and we have a lot more to lose if we fight against one another, because the only ones that have something to gain for it are politicians. Go back to Rome. Go back to Rome, the Roman Empire. Politicians, they are the only ones that have something to gain. Work with people who are trying to break down, to lessen those differences. There are differences, okay, but they're talking about differences put by sanctions, differences put by prejudice and system, differences in how people are treated among different groups, even in a specific group, okay? Even in that group, there's caste. There's people in that specific group who feel that they are better than the others, all of the same group, of the same race, of the same nationality, of the same ethnic background. Okay, and it takes a lot of courage to come out in these very difficult times in 2020, no matter where you live in the world, to go out there and to talk about unite, no violence, okay, to make our differences unite us. Okay, the respect that we have to get and the justice that we have to get should be served equally among groups, among classes. We are not all born with the same skin color, with the same talents. Okay, but we have a right, okay, a fair share towards our happiness. We are entitled to have the same opportunities. Okay, you are going to try something. If it doesn't work, you're going to try a different opportunity. Okay, because nowadays we are living in a society where money means everything. Money means everything to somebody who doesn't have to pay rent today. Money means everything to somebody who has a daughter who is suffering with a cancer or leukemia. Money means everything also to somebody who has jets and private boats and is a millionaire. Okay? And it is about helping where you may help. There's also very good-hearted people who are connected with the flow of abundance. They live an abundant life. They may be rich, they may be the average person, but they help. They get that flow of money going. Okay, they receive, they give. And this is what you are asked, not to be stingy right now. Even with your compliments, if you cannot give anything, you can give your support. Okay, you can listen to somebody complain, maybe they need that. Okay, lend an ear, lend a helping hand, give some free advice. Okay, maybe you are in a profession where maybe you can help people with your advice. Redirect them people to resolve this problem. You have to go here, contact this person, this department, this phone number, connect them to resources. And they are reminding all of us about the story of Jesus, who went in the market, okay, and he kind of made a mess. He threw everything away because he said, you're not praying to God. So I'm telling this story in maybe different words. I'm not specifically using what Jesus said. I'm just taking the meaning of it. That you're praying to money. Money is your God, wealth. Okay, but remember that money comes from God. Money, prosperity, success, everything that is good comes from the knowledge and the awareness that you are created in. You are a mirror image of God that created you. Okay, and that mirror image is reincarnated in the person that you are, and it is through this awareness that you are able to attract and manifest money, prosperity, good health, happiness, love, and everything else that you desire to fulfill all of your needs, and then some more. You have to understand once and forever that money is the result. Money is the result, and it doesn't originate with the money. It originates with your higher awareness. Your higher awareness that you are equipped from the moment of the inception of your soul, not from the moment of your birth. It goes way back than that. It goes back to the moment of the very inception of your soul, that you have been equipped with the ability to manifest, to make anything that you need and desire. And just like, take the concept of infinity. Infinity means it's never over. Okay, and that's what you are connected to. Okay, to the goodness, the abundance. The abundance is never over. Okay, but you have to connect to your higher purpose. You have to figure out, you are blessed. Everybody's blessed with some kind of a skill, but we also gain knowledge and develop further skill in our life. Okay, so focus on that. What is it that you can do right now, maybe to help somebody? What is it that you can do right now to help yourself? Is there something unique about you that people would be like, I absolutely want to hire that person? Okay, or that people would come to you because you have a business and you are the absolute best, or maybe you have a hobby. Okay, maybe you have a hobby. It soothes you to paint. You're not the best painter, but it soothes you. You dance along with the music. Okay, or you sing along with the music in your car. It's coming from your heart. Okay, that's your hobby. Focus on that. Be in that energy. You have to stand in the divine presence. Then you are. And you are forgetting that. If you keep focusing that you are less than everybody else, you are not standing in the greatness of who you are meant to be. We are all meant to be happy, healthy, and to prosper. We get reincarnated to learn with each and every life, and understand that perfection doesn't exist. We are a work in progress. That's why we get reincarnated lifetime after time after lifetime, because one lifetime is just not enough. So you may have $5 and be so happy. Okay, you're going to attract help. You're going to attract people who are just going to contribute to your life. And you may have $100,000 in your bank, and you are always focusing on who's criticizing you. You may suffer from low self-esteem. How does that really work? Really? Okay, so according to the principle of abundance, that person may have the money, but that money may not be there forever. That person is never going to be happy, even if that person has some money aside. And the person who has $5 doesn't get any love, then they're going to start attracting people who are going to help them, maybe a job opportunity, maybe they're going to develop a talent, because it is through personal struggles that we rise above it. Take me, for example. A fire just destroyed my apartment. I had to stay with different friends until I was able to find an apartment, but I was able to rebuild my life stronger than before. I was able to finally, at the time, rent an office space and have my own healing room to be self-employed. In 100 years, I never thought that I was going to be that. I did not know that I had to dream about it. I wasn't really dreaming about it, okay? But it happened. Okay, I surrounded myself with good, loving people. That's what I did. I surrounded myself with good, loving people who showed up unconditionally. And these are not people who are wealthy, but they shared what they had with me. They shared the couch. They shared a bite to eat, because who surrounds themselves with good friends, a good friend is worth more than $100,000. Okay, and yet again, I had to go through a lot of issues with my health, and I'm still going through a lot of issues with my health, but I'm getting better. I still have another 6 months to go. I went in the emergency room thinking that the doctors in the ER thought that my appendix was to erupt, okay? And they had to act immediately to find me an available surgeon to perform the surgery. So I did not end up going in my usual hospital because they were busy, nobody was available, and I needed surgery right away. They were able to find a small hospital who turned out to be a blessing that I never heard of. And my surgeon was more than a father to me. Okay, the whole hospital team, Carney Hospital in Dorchester, Boston, where you would be so lucky if you end up there. So it turns out that when they cut me open, I had a tumor growing in my appendix. It was, which is not rare, is extremely, extremely rare. And I am opening up to you right now because it's a teaching lesson, it's a teaching moment. And I'm doing this with the Akashic Records open because they are encouraging me to share this with you. You never know what a person is going through just because you're following them online, just because you're following them on Facebook. You don't really know about a person's struggles. And I am able not only to stand here today to share the advice from the Akashic Records, but I'm also able to stand here today to tell you that the Akashic Records do work, because it is through the help of the Akashic Records that I was able to go through so many difficulties. I mean, thank God I was a nutritionist. You are meant to become something for a specific reason. So I'm a nutritionist. I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics from the Westchester University of Pennsylvania. And I thought, I was going to open a nutrition business there. But no, it turns out that the real reason why I had to become a nutritionist was to save my own life. I did cut gluten and dairy from my diet a year before because I was experiencing fainting, a lot of problems, and the doctors couldn't figure out why. And I have been thin for most of my life. Plus, being a nutritionist, I never had a problem losing weight anytime I wanted to. I have always been a very active person, doing Zumba, going to the gym. Like, I had an extra spur of energy. I would never sit down for a moment. And when this sudden crash in energy happened, they couldn't figure out what it is. I also had to deal with doctors who ignored my signs. Some doctors are like, oh, you're a nutritionist. They're like, oh, but I know better than you. So they have some attitude, some doctors, unfortunately for me. Okay, but anyway, I ended up going to this hospital and they removed the tumor. And luckily for me, I have been in a very strict diet, specialty diets for that reason. And I'm continuing toward that, to heal myself. And maybe one day I'm going to be putting together nutritional programs to help people with cancer before and after surgery. And I'm also going to put together meditation programs because I have been doing a lot of meditation where I ask the Akashic Records to heal me, And they have been helping me so much. And plus, not to mention that I had no idea that when you have a major surgery, apparently the pain medication makes you depressed. I have never been depressed in my life. I had no idea what that feeling was. But look at me. A couple of weeks after surgery, I was able to cut all of the pain medication. Even though I had pain, what I did is immediately the moment I felt pain, I went to meditation. And that's how I was able to survive. So I have been without a painkiller for 6 months, okay, with the power of eating right, the specialty diet, the power of prayer. And the Akashic Records did ask me to put together a specific program for cancer patients where I'm going to combine the nutrition, the scientific aspect of it, because I am a nutritionist, I'm going to put together a meditation, which is it's mostly like when I help people to visualize it, okay, and we're going to get to the cell level. And I'm also going to, they also asked me to create this special service, which is going to be called Spiritual Nutrition, where I'm going to combine a reading, so the spiritual side with the scientific side when I go over your diet, and I combine the two, which is very similar to, what is that called? Medical medical mediumship, which is very similar to a medical mediumship, but this one is going to be more specific about nutrition. And for those of you who have had readings with me, if a nutrition situation comes up, I always let you know that I am a nutritionist. That's why the Akashic records are being specific about they're being specific about information about nutrition. So all of that is coming up, and I had to do it all alone because on the same night that I had surgery, there were major earthquakes in different parts of Europe. My family lives in Albania. They had major earthquakes, like you have no idea. On the same night, like my family was going through struggles, my whole country, me, like I stayed in the hospital for like 5 days. One of these days I couldn't get in touch with them because obviously they didn't have internet. We called one another through apps that use internet, and I was so afraid that something bad had happened to them. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And that wasn't like Albania had a whole month of earthquakes. Okay, and sparingly other earthquakes here and there. But here I am, still standing. I didn't go into depression. I am still alive and fighting, and I'm able to share this story with you. And the other story that I would like to share with you, prior to surgery, I was so sick for a week. And you may have noticed that sometimes I just return money to the client without an explanation, because in that moment I'm either fainting and I'm barely putting myself together to return the money. Like, I don't want to explain anything to anybody. That's how I felt at the time. So for those of you who were a little bit like offended and even hurt because I returned the money without an explanation, is because I was going through a lot. One moment I would be laughing, the other moment you will find me on the floor. So it wasn't that I was struggling in that moment. Okay. So I opened the Akashic records, but when you are sick, I wasn't too sure if I was able to understand and comprehend everything that the records were telling me. So the first image of the Akashic records, hours before the surgery, I opened the records and I'm like, tell me here what to do. Okay, and they told me to just walk to the emergency room, take a taxi and go to the emergency room, and that's what I did. So the first image they showed me Carnegie Hall in New York. The way my brain operates, I connect things because they sound the same. I ended up going to Carnegie Hospital, which is Carnegie. Carnegie is very close to the name. And I was in front of an audience talking to them. Okay, and I wasn't singing opera. That's a place where people go to sing, to perform. The second image they showed me an image of Jesus being very, very Jewish, because in all of the images that depict Jesus, he's depicted with a cross. But Jesus, in his lifetime, he was Jewish, and typically Jewish men, they wear that typical hat. I don't know what it's called. So it's not unusual for Jesus to appear to me on or off the record. Even as a little girl, I used to have images of him, and I had no understanding of religion or anything like that. So he appeared to me with a tiny little computer, and he's like, and he's like, don't worry, I'm going to work my magic and I'm going to connect you to the right people. That's what Jesus said in my image. And then the next image that I got was, I saw Prince William of England. I saw Prince William. Okay, so he waved at me. And immediately right after him, there was this woman that appeared, and then she became Kate, his wife, and she also waved at me. So William. I don't remember what else. I don't remember what else, because it has been pretty much 6 months or more ever since this image. But what happened is I ended up going in Carnegie Hospital, which the name was very similar. The name of my surgeon was Dr. William. So I was telling Dr. William as they were sedating me, because that takes a moment to kick in. I was telling him about my experience, and I'm like, I was so glad when you told me your name. I'm like, yes, yes, I'm safe. I'm safe. That's my dream. I was meant to end up here. And I told him that in my images, I also saw Princess Kate. Like there were two of you. And the doctor says to me, well, my wife is also a doctor. Can you imagine that? William for William. So when I called him my prince, we were laughing, but he knew that I didn't mean that as in the classical sense. I meant as like the prince who was going to perform surgery on me. You know, the affiliation with Prince William. And the ER doctor was a Jewish doctor. The moment I entered in the ER was empty. Luckily for me. Luckily for me. That's why they told me, the next morning you go to the ER, not tonight. So I had to deal with the pain one more night. So I walk in the ER and a typical Jewish doctor with a typical head appears. Okay, and he introduced himself. He had a complicated Jewish name. I can't remember it. Okay, plus I was so sick to remember anything. And then this is the exact words he tells me. He goes like, don't worry. I'm going to connect you to another surgeon. I'm going to find you the best surgeon who is available to do your surgery. That's what he told me. So that's the power of the Akashic records. And thank God this happened to me when I knew how to do tarot. I was spiritual. I knew about meditation and the Akashic records. Because if this had happened to me prior to me being trained with this, I don't know how was I going to go through it. They have been a big support. So I'm just going to take my time now to just read a few comments because tonight I'm not going to be doing any readings. It's too much for me to share this story that is extremely, very deeply personal to me. Okay, so I'm just going to go to read a few comments because they're telling me like I have comments of support coming from people. Oh, Petrina, I learned so much from the Akashic Records. Everything that I learned from them, I always share with you. Thank you, Nareen. Nareen Robinson. Hi, my friend. Oh, Fern Farmer is a great grandmother herself. How lovely. You lived long enough to be great a grandmother. Trust me, at some point I was questioning if I was going to be alive the next day. It's a great joy. I hope to be lucky enough to become a grandmother, never mind a great grandmother. Oh, Rebecca, you can visit me online. That's the only way we have to do it right now. But I don't know if I remember you correctly. Are you up in Canada? Oh, thank you so much, Love 88 Spirit. Thank you so very much. So Fern Farmer is also a cancer survivor. So thank you for understanding me. Thank you, Teresa Belcher. Thank you. Hugs back to you, Love 88. Yeah, the journey, you are right, releasing everything that was going on behind the scenes and you had no idea it was happening. So Nareen Robinson, yes, the service that they asked me to put together, it's called spiritual nutrition. So it's very similar to medical mediumship, but it's focused on nutrition, because they told me that's the reason why this happened to me, because everything that happens has a reason and a purpose. And they told me that I was going to be safe. Okay, they were going to take care of me, but I had to go through this because I had to come up with those cancer courses, cancer classes, cancer services that, as I said, I'm going to put them together, and also to create a spiritual nutrition. And I don't know if anybody else does that. That's the first time that I heard of it when the Akashic Records told me about it, which naturally I was doing that, but I just had to create a specific service about that. Thank you, Miss Tamika. She's one of my clients who purchased the VIP program, and I'm truly blessed to have connected with you. It was a pleasure working with you. Thank you, Ramada Mustafa. Yeah, you are right. It turned out that it is true. I am replying to the journey. A healer goes through pain and suffering in order to help others. That was my case. Anyway. Thank you, Helen. Helen J. How are you? So sometimes some people didn't get a notification because YouTube, I'm assuming, is overwhelmed. A lot of people are working from home and they still need to figure out the encoding, or I don't know what else is called, so that it functions better. I have people who tell me they get notified 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later. But at least you're here, you're here now, and you get to watch the replay afterwards. So I'm just going to close the records. I need to say a prayer to close the records. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the Lord of the Akashic Records for their point of view, and I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. Thank you so very much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe. If you like to share this video with other people, YouTube always has a share button. If you like to contact me for a private reading, my email is amalightworker@gmail.com, and my website is www.amalightworker.com. You can always purchase the Vimeo videos where I'm doing an Akashic reading for each sign of the zodiac, or you may choose to join the membership program. The membership program has different levels, and they are very affordable. In the membership program, I'm doing a very extended Akashic Records reading for every sign of the zodiac, which is twice as long as the Vimeo video, and I'm always here to bring you more information, more readings, and more special stuff. Okay, so I will reconnect with you, and again, 6 more months, and I'm going to be 100% healed and going back to my old body, or to my usual to my usual body, maybe shedding a few pounds. Thank you so much. Thank you, Najmia. Bye to everybody, and I will reconnect with you next time. Thank you for being here.